Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. Judy here. If you fight for freedom, democracy, human rights, and science, you've come to the right place. I upload weekly to this series, which talks about culture, economics, and dictators and various events and people in human history. My friends, before we get into today's topic, please allow me to thank the friends who bought me coffee from my website last week. Thank you so much for your kind support, my friends. Thank you. My friends, I think you all know that Trump has been breaking his no words campaign promise again and again. And if you're not new to this channel, you know that I've talked about his military operation in Venezuela, in which I said that when Trump said no words, it meant that no words that not benefit his family and his wealthy and powerful friends. That it was the no words that benefit himself and his class. Yeah, money is one of the benefits, and Trump has already reaped some benefits from his Venezuela operation. And my friends, words not only bring more money for him, but also help him stay in power by distracting people from domestic problems. In fact, all dictators, including the butcher of Uganda, use words to stay in power, since their policies always make people get poorer and poorer. Speaking of the butcher of Uganda, I mentioned them when I talked about the reasons why I think the Hannibal Hector in Trump's speeches was Jeffrey Epstein. If you haven't watched that video, please check it out in the description and comments. Yeah, the butcher of Uganda, Idi Amin, tried to use words to remain in power. Why? What had happened? Well, first let's see what kind of person he was. Okay. Amin was noted for his abrupt changes of mood, from buffoonery to rudeness, from gentleness to tyranny. Imagine a man who could charm you with a smile 1 minute and order a brutal execution the next. Sounds familiar, right? Like Trump, Idi Amin also acted like a child, like publicly insulting Western leaders. By the way, no offense to children. And also, like Trump, Amin was extreme in his nationalism. Yeah, Amin used it to divide his country. In fact, all dictators don't want a united country because they need people to hate one another in order to stay in power. They are like some kinds of demons who become stronger and stronger when people hate each other more and more. And Trump is one of them. So was Idi Amin. During Amin's 8 years in power, he successfully divided the country through a combination of brutal ethnic purging. Yeah, he had absolute power. Tens of thousands of Ugandans were murdered during his regime because his secret police hunted down everyone whom Amin considered a threat. So, like I've said before, Trump's dictatorship is not fully formed yet. So people must stop his secret police ICE and stop him from becoming a real dictator. Otherwise, imagine Amin's Uganda. Anyway, also like Trump's administration, Amin's government was also plagued by mismanagement and growing isolation. And his stupid economic policy brought economic ruin. In 1972, Amin issued his stupid policy economic war, plunging the country into economic chaos by expelling around 50,000 agents with British citizenship who own 90% of businesses. Moreover, Amin used the majority of national funds for armed forces and his personal expenses, leading to reliance on loans. Also sounds familiar, right? Also, like Trump, Idi Amin was a cold dictator, so much so, no matter what kind of things he had done, there would be always a group of people supporting him. Desperate to stay in power, Amin decided to use words to distract people from domestic problems. In October 1978, he ordered an attack on Tanzania. In response, Tanzanian forces, alongside Ugandan exiles who had fled Amin's rule, they not only fought off the attack but also invaded Uganda, and they captured Uganda's capital, overthrowing Amin's regime. What happened then? What happened? Amin took his 4 wives and more than 30 children alive, and finally settled in Saudi Arabia. And like most dictators who were overthrown by their people, Idi Amin died peacefully, never facing justice for his crimes. So, my friends, Trump will never care if he destroys the country, the economy, or people's lives, because worse or more worse, he and his family will most likely live safe and happy lives afterward.